Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Here I will do my midterm assignment. I have 4 topics here, which are describing myself, describing people, describing object, and describing place. My name is Dean Adrian Baihaqi. You can call me Dan or Dean, but my family and my friends usually call me Dan. My education background: I went to Cirenganis Elementary School. There, I learned a language that I couldn't speak at all, namely Sundanese. I have studied Sundanese since the first grade at the elementary school. I have to speak Sundanese because everyone uses Sundanese there. And then, I continue my study at Pamulihan 1 Junior High School, where my mother teaches. I was also taught history by my mother, but I really don't like studying history. And then, I went to Tanjung Sari Senior High School. This is where I have started to have to think about where I will continue my education after. And now, I study at Bandung State Polytechnic. I have the motivation to get a decent job with a great pay. In the future, I want to be a professional programmer. And why I choose IT? Well, because I'm curious about IT world, and I think there will be more IT company because of the technological development. I also have several relatives in IT, so I'm curious and want to get into IT. My hobbies are playing Rubik's Cube, swimming, and listening to music. After entering university, I became less mobile because many tasks required me to sit in front of the laptop for a long time. So usually I swim just to keep my body in shape. I started to learn to swim when I was in 6th grade because my mother told me to. I didn't want to learn swimming at first, but my mother threatened me that she would tell my PS2 if I didn't want to learn to swim. And first, I didn't enjoy learning to swim because I thought it wasn't fun. But after studying for about 3 months, I became happy learning to swim because after 3 months, I was taught the basics of all swimming styles. And in my opinion, the most difficult style is the butterfly style because it requires the strength of the hands when inhaling upwards. That's where I have the desire to master the butterfly style. And for music, my favorite band is Bon Jovi. I really like John Bon Jovi's distinctive voice and the combination of rock music and romance music. And actually, I started playing Rubik's Cube when I saw my brother playing Rubik's Cube and was able to finish it. That's where I started to be amazed and wanted to learn to play. That's when I saw YouTube for playing Rubik's Cube. And until now, finally I'm still playing Rubik. When I first learned to play Rubik's Cube, I really had a hard time learning it. But my father helped me learn to play the Rubik's Cube. At that time, I was still in elementary school, so I learned to play Rubik's Cube via YouTube through my father's cell phone. So my father also learned the Rubik's Cube and then taught it to me in a simpler way. Rubik also has many formulas that must be memorized. At first, I had a difficulty memorizing the formulas, but after playing for a long time, I became faster in memorizing the Rubik's formula, and now I even forget the Rubik's formula when asked. Now, I can only play by relying on muscle memory to solve the Rubik's Cube and don't remember the formula at all. My mother's name is Sri Susilawati and my father's name is Iman Hadiat. And I have an older sister named Diani Akmarina Nurida. If in a state of enthusiasm, I can do the task very quickly, but if in a bad situation, I can concentrate on doing something. So all I do is just scroll YouTube short. So maintaining the mood while working on something is also important for me. That's why I like to listen to music while doing something. I listen to music to keep my mood up, and I can concentrate more on doing that. People often think that I am a diligent person, but I feel that is very contrary to reality. The truth is, I'm actually a lazy person. I can usually get excited if there is a trigger, but after years of thinking about what triggers can make me excited, I can seem find one. But there are also factors to make my parents proud of me. It is one of the factors that motivates me to do something because I really want to make my parents have a comfortable life in the future. That is actually the main goal of my life. My family are the most important people in my life, and that's why I want to make them proud. On this topic, the person I will be describing is an actor who is famous for his funny roles. The behavior presented in the figure can be said to be ridiculous. He is Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp has a cool look. He has slightly messy hair in a cowboy style. He also sometimes wears a cowboy hat, which makes him look even cooler. Johnny Depp also has a tall and athletic body. His body is very supportive if he has to play a cool figure. The plus of Johnny Depp is his always positive way of thinking. He will find a way out when in a very difficult circumstance. Although his life had slumped since he was 15 years old when his parents divorced, he can face it and change his life. He also likes to visit children's hospitals in a Jack Sparrow costume. He visited to encourage the children and reassure them that they would get well soon. However, Johnny Depp's minus is that he is a strange temper. He often does things that can hurt him. That is very dangerous. The interesting thing about Johnny Depp is that he has a cool and sometimes even scary appearance, but his true nature is very far from his outward appearance. He is very kind and smiley person. My favorite movies played by Johnny Depp are Pirates of the Caribbean and Sleepy Hollow. I think those films have very interesting stories and Johnny Depp does very well in those films. I will describe an object, and the object that I choose is Rubik's Cube. Rubik's Cube is included in the sports categories. I mean brain sports categories. Rubik's Cube is made of plastic, and Rubik's Cube has different dimension depending on its shape or type. But the Rubik I have here has a side length of 5 centimeters, and this one has a side length of 6 centimeters. This Rubik has various shapes like triangles, rectangles, hexagons, and what I have here is square. This square shape is the most common because this shape is more common than the other shapes. Most people usually only know that the Rubik only has a square shape, even though there are still many very varied forms of the Rubik's Cube, and the surface of this Rubik itself is practically smooth, so that the players are comfortable in holding this Rubik's Cube. However, if the player's hands are oily, the surface of the Rubik's Cube can become very uncomfortable to hold. So the hands of the players must be dry for their own convenience. This Rubik has 6 colors on the outside, and on the inside there is a complex structure that arranges for the Rubik to move without being separated from each other. And for the function of this Rubik itself is to train our brain to find solutions to problems. Playing Rubik's Cube can also train our logic in solving a problem. And after completing the Rubik's Cube, there is a certain satisfaction in me. So after being able to play Rubik, I became addicted to playing it. And especially after knowing that there are many types of Rubik's, I became more excited to learn more Rubik's. I really can play very fast, but like a professional player, but I have this at least having the skills to solve various Rubik's is already a pleasure. Now I will describe the place where I live. The place where I live is not known to many people because it is not in the city center. The place where I live is Tanjung Sari, Sumedang district. It's actually a comfortable place because it's not as crowded with vehicles as in urban areas. So the air there isn't filled with pollution. The air there is also fairly cold because Tanjung Sari is in the highland. So after I was boarding in Bandung, I actually felt that the weather in Bandung was this hot. So you can say that I'm not used to the weather in Bandung. The people in Tanjung Sari are also very friendly. My neighbors are also very kind. They often provided food supplies when I was quarantined due to COVID-19. They didn't alienate me and my family. They helped us instead. In my opinion, Tanjung Sari is a very comfortable place to live because Tanjung Sari is still in Sumedang. The typical food there is also fairly similar to the food in Sumedang, such as Sumedang tofu, Cilembu sweet potato, and many other delicious foods there. And the place I want to visit is Japan. I like Japan because the country has advanced technology. There is also a very clean place. Even the showers in Japan are also very clean. So there is no doubt about the cleanliness of this country. And besides, the tradition in Japan are also very interesting. I want to feel the atmosphere there firsthand.